What's up, YouTube creators here? So let's say you've decided to buy a C4. How you came up to that decision, that's a whole different story. But let's say, yeah, you're like, okay, I want a C4. What C4 should I get? There's about sort of two different versions of the C4. The early version, the later version. They have some differences in each year. They go from 84 to 96. Now, the price on the C4, I'm gonna tell you first. It's really relative, because if you think about it, some people say, oh, it's just an old car, how much could it be worth? Some other people say, oh, it's a collectible Corvette or something, so it might be worth a lot more to them. It also depends your location in the United States. You might be south, north, east, west, so it's not like a fixed rate. They are kind of, different markets, different values, so that also depends. What I paid for this thing, $6,000. The guy was asking $6,000. I ended up paying $6,000 after I checked it out. And the reason why I picked this up is because of the specs on it. One thing I like about it, see, this thing has both sport seats, the FX3 adjustable suspension, has the CO7 package, which is like the sort of the track package, suspension, all that stuff, J55 brakes. It's all in there, heavy duty suspension and 345 rear axle ratio, and of course the lovely CF 6-speed. And I like the interior of the 92 and 93 better than the later ones or the earlier ones. LT1 motor, CO7 package, has a few things upgraded from the base model. It actually has heavier spring rates on the leaf springs than the CR1, so I would have spec'd it out like that myself if I got it from factory, because I really like the specs. I'm never gonna sell this thing. Now there's two types of C4 Corvette people. There's the ones that think their C4 is worth $15,000-$20,000, and there's the ones that say they wouldn't pay more than $2,500 for a C4. Like I said, it's all up to you. I paid $6,000 for this thing upfront cash, and it is what I think. I was thinking it was worth around $6,000 to $7,000. It ended up going for $6,000. I'm not gonna say I got a steal. I'm not gonna say I paid too much. It was sort of what it's worth, and I really like the car. Like, it's spec'd out how I wanted it. Now let's say you want to, first of all, let's say you want the pricing. You want a collectible sort of car, or you want something you can drive. Okay, you decide. You want the old body style or the new one. That's to start there. Old or new body style. If you pick the old one, you got the L98 motor for most of the years. I wouldn't suggest getting the 84 unless you want the 84 with the misfire engine. You want the L98. The 89 comes with the 6-speed, or the 4-speed automatic, and before that you get the weird Dog Nash 4+3, which I've never heard many good things about that, so I'd rather take the 6-speed or the automatic if you're into that. Now I like the LT1. The CR1, of course, if you want to get collectible, you get the CR1. I guess not. I mean, it's not that collectible, but the most collectible ones are the Grand Sport from '96 and the Callaway. Of course, the CR1 and the what's it called, collector's edition. They're worth a little bit more than the base model LT1. So it's up to you. I picked this up with 162,000 miles. Now that's I would call that high mileage, but to me, I was gonna drive the car. I bought it to drive it. I'm not gonna collect it. I'm not gonna, it's not gonna sit in the storage, and I'm never gonna drive it. I'm planning to drive it, drive it hard and stuff. So, and at the end of the day, I want to keep it. If it blows up, I'll just put like a 383 stroker in it or something, sort of the same, but not good too crazy. But I'm planning on keeping it. So if something happens with the motor, I'll just get something better in it, but still keep the car because it's what I wanted. If you want something you're gonna just stare at, get a CR1 or Grand Sport Callaway or something like that. But as far as horsepower numbers, you're not really gonna beat many people, but you're also not the slowest car out there. It's got enough power to be fun. Even the L98 or the earlier models, they're still quick enough to get on the highway and go high speeds. But again, it's all relative to you. So how much would you pay? Let's throw around some numbers. Let's say you get a 1984. Now, like I said, even if it's the cleanest with the lowest miles, 84, it's not really gonna be worth that much, man. It can go from 2,500 to maybe 6,500 bucks if you're getting the best one. But I mean, 6,500 bucks for like an 84. I don't know what you're thinking, man. Even if it's low miles, nobody really likes those anyway. Let me see. Maybe you want the L98. Let's go with an 89 models. Got the L98. It's newer. They'll still go from like $45,000 to $7,000. Like I said, depends on the miles, depends on where you're located, depends on also the manual's a little bit more expensive than the automatic. And of course, they're old cars, they're never gonna be perfect. But like this one, the reason I like this one is the guy had it for like 17 years or something. Always garage kept, and this thing is, you show up turnkey, it's good to go. I don't want something I have to like work a lot on before I could drive it. This thing just, he took care of it. Every kind of, it's still not perfect, like I said, it's an old car, but everything that could have broken, he fixed it. Headlight motors, up to spark, alternator, you name it, he took care of it. He fixed that. So I was, I just wanted the car because I can just pick it up and drive. I don't want to have to be working on the car. So maybe I could have got it for cheaper if it was rougher. You don't have to do some work in it, but it works just fine. I mean, obviously you gotta do a thing or two here and there, but it still runs fine. And so like I said, if you want an 89, 86, 89, maybe 1990, 91 with the newer body style, that's where you're gonna be paying around 4,500 to 7,000. So it all depends, up to you. It's whatever you're looking for. So you shop around, drive them, go look at them, inspect them. When I showed up with this thing, I was thinking, I'm gonna look for every little detail that I don't like. There weren't many. Like, I was like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna pay that. I'm gonna pay the guy what he's asking for it, and I think it was worth it. There's always gonna be someone out there like, oh man, you overpay. I wouldn't pay more than $1,500 for that. And someone's like, oh, you got a deal. Those things were $15,000. There's always something like that. To me, I'm never gonna sell it. Probably could have paid a little bit less, but it happens, and I like this thing. Now let's say you get a 92 and up. You get a 92 to 95 LT1 6-speed. Man, those are going for around, I'm thinking, 5,000 to 9.5 grand. If you get in one for 9.5, it's probably got less than 50,000, less than 100,000 miles, less than 75,000. It's taken care of. Like this one, probably a little bit better, not that high mileage and stuff. But yeah, they can go up to like $95, $100 for them. One down to as low as 5 or even cheaper. It's all, I'm just throwing out numbers, to give you an idea. And well, of course, if you want the Grand Sport, there's this guy that got a Grand Sport for like $23,000. Maybe would I pay that for a C4? Not really, but it's a badass Grand Sport. It might be worth a lot, And well, guys, that's it, I guess, for this video. If you got more questions, let me know, and we can talk more about the C4. And like I said, this is after you decided you wanted a C4. If you just want a cheap Corvette, go ahead and get your C5. They're bottoming out like the C4 too. The C3 is going up in price, so they're not gonna be cheap. But if you're paying $9,000 for a C4, save a couple grand more and get your C5 if you want a Corvette. Probably better off like that. But if you want a C4, just listen to what I'm saying and hit me up and I'll let you know.